Hello, my name is Mr. Anderson, and I am the voice of Written Sin. And that's my dog knocking something over. Today we're going to be talking about Kickstarters like we do every week. We're going to go through our list of the Kickstarters that you should be backing. This week we entitled it, As an Eclipse Approaches, gets closer to happening on Earth, and puts on a show. Check out these summer blockbusters now on Kickstarter. Okay, so we'll go down the list like we do every week. Let's talk about what's currently on Kickstarter. Sinister, the soundtrack is going to be available for this Kickstarter, is and has been on Kickstarter for the last month. We're getting down to last week. We're going to see what's going on. The pitch for this particular project, as I turn the YouTube mic back on after my dog made a mess, is Sinister is about brothers embarking on a trip to Africa. However, it is cut short when a fatal boat crash occurs during their travels. They find themselves near the shorelines where an unknown tribe settles. The tribe transforms the brothers into immortal creatures in hopes that they will protect them from their enemies. If you like The Relic, Incredible Hulk, Last Airbender, or great fantasy, then you will enjoy this, and it really is great. Here we go. $1 can make a dream. So what does $1 can make a dream come true mean? What it means is that during Kickstarters, every dollar collected counts, sure. But it goes even more than that. Here's the issue. When it comes to things like Kickstarter, there isn't just about money, it's about the popularity of the project, and it's about the support of the project. And in that column where you see the amount of backers, that amount of backers matters, especially later on. So it's just something to keep in mind that I always like to bring up, that if you believe in a project and you really think that there's something good about that project, then I encourage you to at least donate $1 to the cause to help them continue to present that project to the world, because I think that's important. So that's what that means. It's very simple. I mean, if you believe in a project, just give it $1. You know, that dollar means something. It means something to Grit and Unstoppable for glory. Grit versus Unstoppable for the glory of Grit feels when he begins being challenged by another superhero stud for glory's heart. We're going to find out more about that in a minute. Brand new to our show, but only lasting a week, is the Mad Doctors. We're going to find out what drove these doctors mad in this 1950s pulp science fantasy, a Jack Kirby and Ray Harrison ECU Comics and Hammers film. Mad Doctors may just break your brain. Speaking about brains, let's talk about lame brains today. This time, Go Schmidt and his zombie version Schmidt continue their hilarious romp through normal Illinois in Lame Brains 2. This time it's personal. Place your pledges on the Strip, a Las Vegas anthology full of different stories from fantastic creators from across the globe. That is an anthology to own in your collection. The first issue of the beautifully illustrated 4-issue mini-series of Robots vs. Princesses finally hit Kickstarter. This is your chance to get this beautifully illustrated project, well written. It's fantastic. We're going to talk more about it in a few minutes. Veterans, never forget to support our veterans, the veteran life. And as you see, we put up a comic this time. We've changed the font a little bit. We've also added some more information for you guys. We're going to talk about that more in a minute. The War and Hope Volume 1, bringing 5 amazing issues together. That anthology, which is focusing on 120 pages of graphic novel composed of 5 issues of The War and Hope, will be discussed on the program today in a few minutes. Then there's Rapid Eye number 2 from Bobby Tortoise, bringing Nightmare on Elm Street and Groundhog's Day. Well, I don't know if Groundhog's Day makes it, but Nightmare on Elm Street and Matrix kind of mixed together, and even Inception. It is a crazy trip. It's something you want to check out. Speaking of something you want to check out, here's Tits number 5. It's time to grab a ride onto Tits. This time, the sci-fi comedy finds itself at a music festival, and of course, nothing can go right with Scat the Cat and his pilot. Noir edition of a crime comic about a retired villain trying to turn a new page while the deck is stacked against him. The villain is on the program today. So is Mutant Chasers, a new breed of #2. The long-awaited installment of Mutant Chasers is finally here. Click here to pledge. In a minute, we'll find out more about it. Speaking of new graphics, support R4AU, the Autistic Jedi. With this patch, show your support of autism awareness. What does autism awareness reflect? It reflects your ability to actually go out of your way to show that autism isn't a curse. It's not something that's dangerous. It's something that we're all afflicted with. I know I said that wrong, but you get my point. It's something that we're all touched by. Let's put it that way. We all know someone who knows someone who has an autistic kid or someone who is autistic. It's something that's not going away. And the more we understand it, the better we all are going to be in being able to deal with people. People with autism are very actually often intelligent and have a lot of skills that can help our society. So I think there needs to be a changing of guard in how we think of it. Speaking of how we think of things, think about this. This art is brought to life by Chris Mad, the new Vodo issue. Vodo, I think is how they pronounce the issue 1. We're going to check that out today. We're also going to check back in with Bless the Child, the Western horror, that's the children horror, the Western one-shot comic book. We're going to check that out. Voodoo Curse, Kim Roberts is back with another comic book in a feverish pitch. She does not stop giving us fantastic works, and here comes another one. We're going to be privileged to have a moment to talk about that in a few seconds. POM, Markel Dupree, who is actually right now sending me an instant message, if you guys heard that. Fantastic Pieces of Me, Superhero Celebrity Magazine is on our show today. We're going to talk more about how fantastic that was. And 10,000 Miles, a children's book graphic novel adventure, quite possibly one of the most beautifully illustrated books we've had on the program. I really do appreciate it. I think it's a fantastic thing. I'm all for all ages, but certainly not all things will be all ages. Shadow Play is one of the books that we're going to talk about that's about anti-bullying. It's from a good friend, Richard Rivera. As scary as this might look right now, it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's G, but it's definitely a PG book. It's definitely something that you can let your kids talk about. I've gotten to talk about it and see it. It's fantastic. Demon Riders. This is by Jack Molders. This is Demon Riders, Monsters and Old Gods, a fantasy western that promises death, chaos, and hope. Check it all out. And Are You One of Us? Okay, so our list is over. Now we're going to talk about Are You One of Us? And what does one of us mean? We've been asking this all year. Actually, we've been asking you for over a year now. What does Are You One of Us mean? Simply put, it means, are you someone who is tired of the reboot culture? Are you tired of the same bullshit? Are you one of the people who didn't go to the movie theaters this summer because you were tired of sequels and boring bullshit regurgitated? Are you wanting new stories, new adventures, new worlds to whet your appetite? Are you in for something new? If you are, that means you're in the right show and you're in the right place. You should subscribe to our main site, writtensins.com, as we update daily brand new, amazing new adventures and worlds and creations from hundreds of different indie creators. We are the Digital International Comic-Con, and the great thing is tickets never sell out. You don't have to worry about the weather, and you can do it all at your home in your PJs. That is what Are You One of Us means. Subscribe to our site, subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to anything that we do. We'll be happy to have your support. Now we're going to go through the list a little more in depth. We're going to go one by one, starting with Sinister Issue 1 relaunch. I'm just going to adjust the camera at home for everyone because it was a little off because it was based upon my site so you guys can see it better. There you go. So Sinister has finally hit its goal, and not finally, but I mean like excitingly finally. I'm excited to see that it's hit. I wanted it. I've asked you guys to share it. You did an amazing job getting it out there. I appreciate everyone who shared this. You are all fantastic. Thank you for supporting a creator I believe in personally. This is someone that I consider a friend. We talk all the time. Jessica is awesome. Jessica DeWitt. Really, I mean, it is a stunning thing. The story about the African cruise, and It's funny, last week on the show, I touched upon this a little bit. There's a big thing going around about diversity. And I'm not going to turn anything political. We all know that this weekend, there was some stuff that went on. And we were talking about a lot online about, you know, social issues. And I'll leave it at that. The one thing I'll say about that is if you want to kind of change the narrative of the world, we need to support creators telling stories that we've never heard before. And honestly, I can't really tell you of a story that I know of that is actually meant to take place in Africa. I know there are stories that deal with things that happen in Africa and then quickly run after it. I know everyone's going to talk to me about Black Panther, but technically Black Panther is its own country. But still, Black Panther is a great example of that. I think this will be interesting. I think it also opens up the door to different ideas, and I am excited about that. Look, I mean, we want to talk about diversity. We have to support diverse products. It's not just about posting it on social media that you're into diversity. It's about supporting titles that are diverse. For me, I love a new story. I love something that's interesting new. I love when something challenges me and it's something I don't necessarily understand. Like, perfect example, I don't really like, personally, and this is just a Rob thing, I don't like hobbits. I'm not big on monsters. But that doesn't stop me from giving every book a chance, and sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised. So, I mean, if you're not into necessarily this, maybe you should be into this. Maybe you should check it out. Give issue #1 a go. Maybe it is something that you'll be interested in, because here's the thing, and I'm old enough to know this. I'm almost going to be 40. Next week is my 39th birthday, and in that time, you know what I've noticed? That honestly, what you like changes rapidly, and it changes rapidly when you open your mind. And it doesn't mean you stop liking things. In the reverse, it helps you like more different, diverse things. And that's how you get your mind to be diverse, is you open it up to different new ideas. And you want to talk about a new idea, Sinister is one of those new ideas. I've never heard of necessarily this type of mythology from African culture. I don't know. I'm not going to say that I know that it's based on anything real. I'm just interested in the fact that it's being done this way. I like it. It's like a very interesting concept. The art seems stunning. I'm so thrilled to not only be a backer of the project, but to also say that we've, if any even small matter, been able to get the word out and the message out to get this funding. So I am very thrilled about this project being made. So I offer it up to you guys as something that, you know, if you want to talk about diversity, and it doesn't have to be this comic book, and this is the one thing I say all the time to people. If you want to support diversity, don't pledge online saying how great you're into diversity. Go out and support something diverse. Buy something that you normally don't buy. Check a show out. Watch a play. Get a comic book that supports a creator who's actually creating diversity. Don't just talk about it, but support it. If you're just talking about it, you're honestly just a hypocrite. So when you see titles like this that do support diversity in comic books, support it. Let people know that we want diverse titles by supporting and showing the major comic book companies, because they look at Kickstarter. They look at Kickstarter and they see what Kickstarter is doing. And when projects of diversity are getting funded, they make projects as diversity. So, and I'm sure I speak for a lot of indie creators, and I know this, that we want to see a more diverse comic book world in indie comics, and more so than we see anywhere else. Doesn't mean you have to only write diversity. It doesn't mean you only have to do that. It's not what I'm saying. It just means that comic books has room for a lot more diverse titles, and I'm always encouraged to see them, and I go out of my way to support them when I think that they're unique and stunning like this project is. So please give this a look, and like I said, if you just believe in the concept of it, $1 will matter. Moving on today to Grit and Unstoppable, which is like a hard turn the other way, being that this is more of a superhero adventure, and it's more of like a me versus him type of battle for a woman's heart. Completely different. It's got a lot of different creators in it. I don't think we actually watched the video last week because we were running out of time and I was keeping it short. So I promised we'd watch the video this week. So we're going to watch it because they are only 6 hours to go at this point. So I want to give them the go. This is a now or never
Welcome to the
moment.
Grit vs. Unstoppable Kickstarter campaign. With this campaign, we wanted to bring some fun back to comics. What better way to bring that fun than with a character like Grit, who has the ability to be a great hero, but also a total tool at the same time. The story has tons of laugh out loud moments and great action courtesy of the spot-on writing from comic veteran Martin Dunn. We also introduce our first international hero to the mix as Hubert Carmichael's character Unstoppable debuts in this story to give us a showing of what true heroics look like. Those heroics get the interest of the love of Grit's life, Glory. She becomes a bit smitten and Grit a bit jealous. The seeds for a great rivalry, we say, but who will be the victor? There's a ton of great rewards on this campaign, like a Kickstarter exclusive cover of the Heroes Ignited Annual #1. It can get you caught up on the story. There's also a remastered edition of Grit #1, amazing t-shirts, action figures, and your own official variant cover.
Ooh, sorry about that.
And feature either you or one of your characters. With your support through Kickstarter, we've been able to release several awesome comics, and with this campaign, we're starting a new initiative. This book is complete and will ship the day the campaign ends. That's right, no more waiting around for months to get your rewards. With the Grit vs. Unstoppable Kickstarter, you will back it and then get your rewards faster than you've ever gotten a Kickstarter reward ever before. Thanks for taking the time to check out this video. Please feel free to look through the Short Fuse Media Group's Facebook page, social media, all sorts of stuff that we do online, and we do hope that you decide to back the campaign today.
Okay, just to be clear, we live in a time where I have to say this, so I apologize. When I said this was completely different, I wasn't speaking to anything of diversity. I just want to make sure people understood that. I know the characters in here seem to be mostly white. It wasn't one of those moments saying that this title is at all not encompassing of diversity. Again, I apologize for having to say that. I just don't like when people try to twist what other people say. So to be clear, that wasn't the point. The point I was trying to make was completely different, was that the other is more of about monsters and becoming a monster due to curses and protecting that versus being superheroes. So I thought it was a huge kind of a difference in it. So that's all that meant. But obviously, this looks like a fantastic project. You only have 6 hours to go. They've more than funded. I mean, we've talked about it. I hate to cut it short, but we do need to move on because we're already a good 20 minutes into the program, so I don't want to run too long today, so we're going to move on. But remember, you only have 6 hours as of 3:36 p.m. Eastern, so 9 p.m. Eastern time's up. So get behind it now. We have never seen this. This is Mad Doctors #2. This is something that we have just added to the program today. I actually have not even done anything about it. I saved this to learn with you guys. Let's check it out.
What would you do if you had a doomsday device? An unholy threat with which to hold the fate of the planet within your steely grip. Perhaps more to the point, what if everyone had a doomsday device of their own? How would you stand out from the pack in your quest for world domination? My name is Matt Blairstone, and I am here to talk to you about Mad Doctors, my ongoing comic series. What is Mad Doctors? Well, here's the quick pitch. Imagine a world that contains every conceivable mad scientist trope from throughout literature, comics, and film. The Frankensteins, the Jekyll and Hydes, the Herbert Wests, hell, Pinky and the Brain. We're talking cybernetic dinosaurs, time travel, death rays, maybe a little Lovecraftian occult dabbling for good measure. Or creating an army of robot monsters to conquer the world, just because. Now, smash that world of mad science into a bucket of He-Man figures and Buck Rogers sci-fi, and you're starting to get the picture. And when you have all these lunatics running amok with their fevered egos and barely thought-through plans, you're perpetually on the brink of Armageddon. But if you manage to stay just this side of Doomsday, there's a ton of exciting stories to tell. And until these mad doctors end up destroying themselves in a fiery inferno, I intend to tell as many of those stories as I can. Now, let's talk about some of the key players in our initial story arc. We begin by introducing two rival powerhouse kingdoms in the mad science world. On one side, we have Dr. Nero Linnet. Beloved, brilliant, and oh hey, he's a giant purple cyclops. On the other side of the battlefield is Dr. Laganeria Fatum. Great and terrible, a practitioner of some very dark arts, prone to windy third-person monologues, and most assuredly not a sentient gourd wearing a Dr. Doom mask. I cannot stress that enough. Dr. Fatum is not an analog for Dr. Doom. I don't even know who Dr. Doom is. Please do not sue me, Marvel. Anyway, first 3-issue arc of Mad Doctors deals with the uneasy balance of power that exists between these rival.
Wait a minute. He doesn't know where Dr. Doom is, but he knows he's with Marvel? That sounds suspicious, Marvel.
And their seemingly inevitable march toward Doctor World War. But there's so much more to Mad Doctors than just a little feud between a purple cyclops and a spell-casting pumpkin. And there are so many more interesting characters whose stories are waiting to be told. Like Balthazar Hicks, the head of security for Dr. Fatum, a grizzled warrior who is torn between loyalty to his homeland and disdain for his tyrannical boss. Or Dr. Siete, a servant bot who has achieved free will and is now on an Indiana Jones-style jungle quest to gain a mad science degree of his very own. And we haven't even touched on Mondo Cosmico, the Mad Doctors adjunct series, also written and illustrated by yours truly. If Mad Doctors has a viewpoint character for the audience to relate to, it's Ramona Oleander.
Okay, guys, to watch the rest of the video, I encourage you to check this out. We're just cutting it short, so it is kind of a long video, nothing personal. I think we got the premise of what it was. You can give it a look. This also is limited on the amount of time it has left, and it could use some more support. It's already hit its goal, but always share it. And remember, like I say all the time, the easiest way to share it is to go right to your favorite project after you've already pledged at least $1 to it, and just hit the area that you want to share it to, such as Facebook or even Twitter. So that's all it takes to share a project, guys. Not a lot. We're going to move on to Lame Brains. Lame Brains now has 8 days to go to capture $1,500 more. We're going to take a look at the video, and you guys can hear in the background if you can hear that. If you can hear in the background the music playing, that's my son. He's napping, so I'm just going to go turn that down a bit while this video plays, and we'll give it a look. I'll cut this video off probably in about a minute.
The last year has been absolutely amazing. I really enjoyed going to different conventions and meeting so many wonderful people. I've gone to Lebanon, I've gone to Planet Comic-Con, which is in Kansas City. I've been to Oklahoma City, which was Comic-Con, and then Smallville. But yes, it's been absolutely amazing to continue, and I'm so excited for issue 2.
How about you? What have you done this year?
All right, we're just going to jump off right here. We're going to give you a little bit more about it. So this project is from cartoonist Anthony Hunter and creator Karen, a last name that if I say I'm going to ruin. When recently deceased Schmidt comes back as a zombie, and his own ghost Schmidt has to help them figure out how to navigate zombie apocalypse happening in Normal, Illinois. Now, is Normal, Illinois an actual town? I wouldn't doubt it if there is one. That'd be kind of cool if it was. I'd actually try to go visit at one point. I'm actually going to Chicago. Maybe I can find it. In this 28-page issue number 2, our boys find themselves in a pickle with his ex-girlfriend Becky's new zombie hunting friends. But we'll find out so much more is in store for the entire team than any of them could have ever expected. Now, it looks kind of cool. The art is kind of unique and cool in a way. Every time I see that, I think of Kim Possible with this girl. I can't help but see Kim Possible, and I never even watched it. But the art is kind of cool. I like it. I don't know how to describe it. I guess I'm not artistic enough to describe the type of art it is, but I dig it. I like it. You know, I'm very taken by it. It looks funny. It looks interesting. I find it amazing that the zombie's sucking his thumb. It's definitely not. He's definitely not your normal zombie. I think that if a nerd or a geek became a zombie, that's exactly what zombie Schmidt is going to be. So definitely check this out. It's definitely worth your time. Don't be a lame brain. Back lame brains. Moving on to the strip. The strip has a cool video. I encourage you guys to check it out. We're not going to watch it because it is a bit long. Instead, we're going to focus more on the pitch, and we're going to read you what the pitch is. And I'll even do my cool, as my wife calls it, my announcer voice. The Strip is a futuristic travel mag full of speculative stories of the Vegas that was or could be. Intergalactic travelers flock to the ruins of the once great Vegas to learn about the ancient culture that once lived there. And each of these stories is a special stop on the tour that reimagines the original city of sin. The tour guide's educated guesses are real hoot. And each story is a flashback of historical reenactments. Part drunk story, part whacked out reinterpretation to please the alien rocket set. The Strip, a twisted Vegas anthology, will be collected of 100 pages of weird warp comics inspired by the original city of sin, Las Vegas. In this 6th entry in the Red Solo Presents Anthology series. All right. I don't know if you guys like that or not. If you didn't, please leave it in the comments how much I suck. But it definitely has a great staff behind it. We're going to take a look at the wall of creators. And I personally know Pedro Mendez is a great guy. A few of these gentlemen like Matthew Sparks I've dealt with. He's a great guy. I've spoken with him. I've spoken with Kevin Mayer. I believe we've spoken. My call, I've heard him in passing. So it is a great collection of creators. Definitely an interesting group. That's Pedro right there. You get different stories, and I like the fact that it's being told through a narrative of like a third person. So how would aliens have viewed what Las Vegas was like 500 billion years from right now if they came back and they saw Vegas? What would be made up about it? Remember, dragons are dinosaurs, but we refer to them dragons. To this date, there's probably a girl right now in a tattoo shop, or a guy, getting a tattoo of a dragon on him, and yet there's no evidence that dragons actually ever existed. In fact, more of the evidence proves the fact that more than likely dragons were just dinosaurs, that bones were put together poorly to create what we thought to be something different. In other words, there were graveyards full of dinosaur bones that were since then have been taken, weaponized, and used for other purposes, including in your gas tank. So it would be interesting to see what aliens would think of us crazy asses and, you know, who we were and how they'd make things up about us. So I think it's a very clever project. I think that it's something that isn't getting the love it deserves. It has a very kooky video. If you like kooky videos, this is definitely the kookiness for it. It stays along with the whole idea of it being told by someone else from a different area. Obviously, the different area being space. So, I mean, it's interesting. It's definitely one of those projects you want to support because it's creativity, and that's what indie comics is. It's about creativity. So, check it out. And while you're on Kickstarter checking that out, let's take the time to look at Robots vs. Princesses, which has a brand new video this week. I love new videos. Let's see what they've done this week.
Hello, I'm Todd Matthey, and I am the writer and co-creator of Robots vs. Princesses, along with the artist Nicholas Chapois. We're bringing you a story that takes fairy tales and giant robots and smashes the genres together in a unique take that both kids and adults will love. Thank you for checking out the Kickstarter.
Now I'm going to cut off the music. Now, for those watching, just as a heads up, when you guys use clips of music, it winds up causing problems for me because if I play it, I get a YouTube warning, and sometimes Facebook will actually kick me off the live. So unfortunately, if I don't know that the music has been copyrighted, protected, or for some reason, it's just easier not to wind up listening to it. I do encourage you guys to check out the rest of the video. It was great music. I don't know about that song. I know other songs that we've played have never been an issue, but we did have an issue with getting kicked off last time we played that, and I didn't get an error or anything like that, but I do know that we got kicked off of the YouTube channel, which was weird, but it wound up still recording for some reason. It just wasn't showing us. So I think it was a copyright thing it was searching for. So in this case, I'm just going to err on the side of caution. Keep that in mind when you're making these videos. You guys, I get it. You want music in your thing, but make sure you're not using commercially copyrighted protective music without permission. It can cause you issues in the long run. Imagine if you saw your stuff being used on someone else's music video. You wouldn't like that. So just keep that in mind when you guys are using music. There is music that's tagged for use, and you're free to use it. It's not copyright protected. Think about doing that in the future, or reaching out to an indie comic band. I've seen a couple indie comic book creators do that. Asking indie comic book music groups to actually do a song. How cool would that be? Check it out. But I mean, we're looking at the art right now. How fantastic is that? And just to be clear, I don't know if the music or not is copyrighted in this one. I just know we had a problem where the YouTube wound up backing up last time I played the video. That's why I didn't let it finish. But this looks spectacular. That reminds me so much of like the Power Rangers for some reason, but it's like steampunk Power Rangers. It's so cool, the references that you can draw from. And I think it looks very interesting. And I like the fact that it's all ages. I talk about this all the time. It's one of the reasons I wrote Jax the Anderson and I'm now a children's book author, is because I think that children need to be marketed to, because children are our future. And I think Marvel and DC have done a horrible job of remembering that children like comic books as much as adults. And I think that's why they're seeing such a decline in sales, is they're not getting kids involved in it, and they're losing them to video games. I think comic books like these are exciting to kids. Look at the art in it. Look how imaginative it is. I'm 39 and I'm interested and I want to know about it. Imagine what a kid will see in this. This is a whole new world in front of their eyes. So take the time to support this project this week by donating at least $1 to it, and or doing something even more important, hitting that all-important share button. And here we go. Speaking of sharing, why don't we talk about the sharing and supporting of the Veterans Wife program right here on Facebook. So you want to know how to help out veterans, you're not sure what's the best thing to do, you're a comic book creator, and you want to look at Markel Dupree, who's showing me some cool art. You can't see it yet. So come here to the Veterans Wife, and they give away tickets to veterans. They help housing at points. They do things to support veterans, and that is very important that we do that. Because remember, veterans give up a lot of their time, a lot of their energy, and sacrifice being with their family to keep us safe. It's only the right thing to do in return for us to support them. So always take the time to look at the Veterans Life program after we do this. Josh Gilliam is going to be making an announcement in 10 minutes. And you know what? We'll actually cut over live to it and cover it in 10 minutes. So not scheduled for the program, but like I said, you support veterans when you can. Josh Gilliam, for those who don't know, served our military and has earned all of our respect. So I encourage you all to tune in. If you want to stay on this video, we will cover that video on our video feed as well. And then I will share it when we're done to help boost the announcement for Josh Gilliam. I do support anyone who wants to see it directly to go directly to his page. Sounds like a thunderstorm above our heads coming. So hopefully we'll be able to broadcast that live. But this has been the Veterans Wife program, which you deserve and need to have in your life. Make sure you like it to keep up to date with it and see how you can help out a vet. The War and Hope. The War and Hope is doing pretty good. We have 9 days to go. It's a group of different, not group, but a collection of different comic books being brought into one. Many works out there deal with the event itself, the cataclysm, raining hell down upon helpless people, violence and gore, and aptly, I don't know, I can't say that word right now, but it is such works. We all have read that. Now, while War and Hope does include these things, the book in general encompasses so much more than just savage in of itself. Aplenty. There we go. Sorry, that was the word aplenty. What was life like before all the hell opened down upon the earth? What does she do to deal with the current circumstances? Does she lose herself along the way, or does she tough it out? Those questions and more await you by supporting this work. Now, so, I mean, this is an anthology after the fact. These issues were made. You can read issues number 1 and 2 through the Kickstarter. How fantastic of an idea is that? So this is how serious the creator is. He wants you to back his project. He knows that you need a taste. He's giving you a 2-issue case. And I mean, that shows confidence. To me, anyone who's willing to put 2 comic books out there for free. And that's what comic book creators make money off of comic books. By giving something away for free, you're technically cutting into your profits that you could then sell. Because he could just try to nickel and dime and sell issue 1 and 2, but that's not what he wants to do. No, 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 no. He wants to make an encompassing collection. So when he goes to a Comic-Con, when he wants to share the story with you, he can hand you a book and say, here it is. This is my work. I know you're going to dig it. So help him make that happen. Support War and Hope today. And while you're supporting things, check out Rapid Eye number 2. We're going to watch a video. So now if that doesn't get you, I don't know what will. That's an exciting adventure from Bobby Tortoise, a friend of mine from up north. Definitely a great creator, definitely a guy that you want to be able to follow and be part of the adventures that ensue. The art in it is fantastic. I am always a fan of this particular project. We are definitely privileged to be living in a time where we can have so many great indie comic book creations coming at us. This one stands out for the creativity behind it. My hat goes off for a fantastic idea. This is something that, I mean, I remember reading it and being like, wow, that's kind of weird and trippy. Just imagine that your bosses are able to get into your mind. Nothing is safe anymore. Forget Jean Grey. They actually send things into your mind. How weird and just fantastic is that? And speaking of weird and fantastic, check out Tits number 5, the Migrant Interdimensional Taxicab Service.
Welcome to another exciting issue of Migrant Interdimensional Taxicab Service. My name is Colton Sorrells, and along with my brother Casey, we are the creators of this comic book series. In issue 5, we find Blotter and Skit Scats at the Sasquatch Music Festival at the Gorge Amphitheater. Things start off merry and jovial enough as the duo partake in the festivities, but things quickly turn sour once Skit Scats is forced to face his inner demons. Blotter doesn't help the situation as he goes off on a tantrum. Havoc and pandemonium soon ensue for the pair and everyone else around them. Join us on the other side of the rainbow in this action-packed issue. Also available are first prints of the previous 4 issues. All art is provided by David Gunawin and features colors by Yves Amador. Along with the comic, we have posters, wall scrolls, limited edition metal prints, as well as limited original sketches, and various other reward packages as well. Thanks for watching, and we hope you like our project.
So we're just gonna, I know Josh is going on in a minute. We're gonna head over to his profile in a minute now. We're just gonna scroll and look at all the tits. Now this is issue number 5. Credit to this creative team. I am honestly just blown away by how quickly they deliver these products. They don't come to Kickstarter to play around. This is definitely one of those great projects and great creative forces. And I'm not sure how many issues there are left, but I think this story arc is coming to a close soon. I think that when they were on the show, they said there might have been about 10 issues. I'd have to go back and watch it. But it is definitely a thrilling ride that we've been on with them. And I'm just so thrilled to be part of it. They definitely are some of the best creators out there, especially their artist, who's fantastic. They have 157 backers. This just goes to show you that when you deliver your Kickstarter rewards on time, you get rewarded by a great following. Speaking of a great following, I'm just going to go over, oh no, looking at that, that's spoilers, guys. That's for an upcoming project that we'll be talking about soon. I'm not going to go into it. We're just going to see if my friend Josh is live here. Josh Gilliam, of course, is the guy we were talking about, who's the veteran. All our respects go to him. We're expecting him to go live any minute now. Just looking to see if I can see that he's on. Let's see. Trying to see if he's on. Sorry for the dead air. Trying to. So, okay, what we're going to do is, I'm going to get my answer in 1 second. Okay, so he's going right now. So we're going to interrupt Kickstarter Talk for the first time ever to go live to cover a breaking announcement about Cynical Stew. Let me see. He exactly said, excuse that. He's making an announcement on Cynical Stew in 10 minutes. So I think we've got to go to Cynical Stew. I think I might be on the wrong page. So for those who haven't fanned this page, today is your day to become a fan of this page, Cynical Stew. Let's see if this is on Cynical Stew right now. I am searching for the, here it goes. We're going to cover it live for the first time ever.
Well, I'm live now, so I guess I'll start. I got my Sarcasm is my superpower shirt on, available on Cafe Press. And then I also have my Cynical Stew hat. They're only $5. So, I wanted to make an announcement. I know it'd been a while since we've done Cynical Stew comic strips. I had surgery in February, and I've been recovering from that. So I'm trying to get back into it now. We're going to start September 1st. I know I was doing the Cynical Z takeover story. So we're going to finish that. We're going to wrap that up, storyline up, where the kids were doing the artwork. And then we're going to go back into the regular Stew Returns. October is going to be Zombie Stew as usual, and then it's going to be back onto a regular schedule, hopefully every week without any problems.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, I had so much fun doing the thanks, Rob, I appreciate it. I had so much fun doing the kids' artwork for the Cynical Z one. I had 3 kids do artwork for it, and then oops, I left one of them downstairs. Here's some of the artwork we had. This was done by Tony, who was age 10. He did a Cynical Z one. Anna, age 10. I left Sophie's downstairs. She is only 5 years old. She did one too. It was really cool to have these young kids be able to do some artwork, see them displayed on a website, on the Empire Comics Lab website. So originally I thought about doing this like, you know, every year, making it an annual thing. But now I'm starting to think more it should be a spinoff, a Cynical Z spinoff where the kids do the artwork. I will do a lot of the writing, but I really want to open this up to kids writing as well, because I think doing something like this gets kids drawing, encourages them to draw, but not every kid's an artist. I'm not an artist, I know. And so some kids might be writers. And then if I open this up to people writing, to kids writing their own Cynical Z comic strips, you know, I'll give them some guidelines and stuff to work with. And I'll try to work with them just as far as a writer goes too. And that way we can get some kids writing their own comic strips. We can get some kids drawing these comic strips. This gets, you know, I mean, when you got kids age 10 and age 5 drawing these comic strips, that's an amazing thing. And that's something they're going to remember for a long time. They're going to love this kind of, you know, getting to draw, getting to write is something wonderful. So if I can give that opportunity to these kids to draw, to write a Cynical Z comic strip, then that's what I want to do. So, I mean, if your kid's an artist, if they want to be an artist, then I will, you know, I want to make it a weekly thing. I want it to be a very weekly thing. Every week, a new Cynical Z comic strip that is drawn by a kid. Hopefully, if we can get to the point, that's written by a kid as well. So if you have a kid that's an artist, if you have a kid that wants to be a writer, I will work with them. I will do what I can to, you know, help foster that artistic talent and to help get them, you know, some spotlight, know what it's like to be able to draw their own comic strip or to be able to write their own comic strip, to be able to have that kind of fun. So I want to make sure anybody with kids sees this, share this video around, you know, send them my way. I'll talk with the parents to work it all out. You know, I'll give the parents the script, or if their kid wants to write with them, I'll give them some guidelines and work with the kid to help write. So that's what I really want to do. I want more of these kids drawing and writing. That's what we really need. It's such a good thing. And it was amazing to see. Thank you for sharing comments. I appreciate it. It was amazing to see the artwork I would get back from these kids. I mean, like, they were really good stuff. I would send these scripts over, and I mean, the way I do Cynicals too is I always send a script to the artist. You know, I have an idea of what I want to get back, but I never know fully what I'm going to get back until they actually get it back, you know, because I give a lot of leeway. And then you've seen these kids were like really running with stuff. Some of the like expression, if you look at Anna's here, you know, that one was really great. And then you have Tony here, who is Thomas's son, did a really great one. I feel bad that I left Sophie's downstairs because hers was really amazing too. So that's what I want to do. So definitely share this video around. If you have any kids, you know, you can send them to Cynical Stu Facebook or to my Josh Gilliam Facebook, whichever one you want to. And then we're going to try to get this rolling. Hopefully, I don't anticipate it. Thanks for sharing, Rob. I don't anticipate this happening like overnight. You know, I'm probably going to need to take a month or so at least to build up some, to get working with these kids. I've already had some people interested, and I really would like to get this going. So definitely share it. If you have kids that are artists, I want them to do a comic strip. We will share it on the Empire Comics Lab website. Eventually,
Very good.
Definitely bring them my way. And if your kid doesn't think they can write or draw, but they think they can write, I definitely want to have some kids writing this comic strip. It's going to be focused on Cynical Z, so it's going to be focused around a little girl, but I want to bring in more characters. So while it's focused around her, we can bring in new characters. So if your kids have an idea for a new character or an idea for a comic strip, but there is no age limit. From as young as they think they can draw all the way up until like teenagers is fine. Awesome. Thanks, Rob. Yes, like I would say like once they get up until like 17 and 18, I might, if they are good at art and they want to actually draw, then I would be willing to let them try out a regular Cynical Stew. But the youngest that they think they could actually try to actually draw to all the way up until 16 or so, I would say. I would love to have them working on it. And even if they can, if it's stick figures, it's stick figures, that's totally fine. I'm no problem with just, kids doing stick figure arts. My whole point is to encourage the love of drawing here for kids. And that's what I really want to do. So, yeah, hopefully for those of you just joining, what I'm wanting to do with my Cynical Z stuff is to make it a spinoff where kids will do all the artwork, and then hopefully eventually I'll get some kids that I want to write too. And if they can't write, I would be willing to work with them to get ideas, and I'll write a script, but I'll give them credit for the story as well. I want to encourage kids to get into comic books, to get into comics, and I feel like this is a great way to do it, giving them their own platform to make their own strips, to write, to do all this kind of stuff, and then they can go off and do their own work too. But that's what I'm hoping for here. So what time is it? I don't really have anything else to say on the subject. That's what I'm wanting to do. I'm going to be pushing hard over the next month to hopefully get the word out. And then, like I said, I would like to make this a weekly comic strip where every single week we put out a new one. We'll, tell everybody who the kid is. We'll put it on the Empire Comics Lab website. Eventually, all this will go into a book that the kids can have, and we'll sell it at some shows too. It's going to be a great way to showcase our artwork. I'm hoping this will be a good way to encourage them. So I got a couple minutes. If anybody has any questions you want to leave in the comments real quick. Like I said before, as far as age goes, I don't have a preference for like the youngest. It doesn't really matter as long as they can follow some instruction and draw something. That's fine. I'm willing to do like single panel ones too. Just like if they have an idea for like a single panel artwork, if nothing else, I can put it under fan art. That'll work too. Thank you. I appreciate it, Rob. I'll definitely be hitting you up with Written Sins to help promote. So yeah, if nobody else has any questions, and for age limit, I would say like past 16. If you have a 17 or 18-year-old that's interested, I'm willing to talk to them. But I mean, I feel like if their art is good enough, I might use them for just a regular Cynical Stew storyline if they're up for it.
I think that
so.
This is a fantastic idea.
Definitely hoping this is going to work out, and hoping that this will get some kids.
I've been saying for a while that we need
more interested in art, or encourage them to do some more art. I mean, Zoe, most of you guys know Zoe. She draws like crazy, and I always, having her, she has her own book, the Princess Zoe and the Fairy book, and she sold it a lot, and that's always encouraged her to want to draw more and going to shows and stuff like that. So my hope is that we get kids drawing. And writing, because I mean, I don't draw, I write, but that's done a lot of good for me. So hopefully we can get some kids writing too. All right, everybody, that's all I had. And please share this video if you can. And then if you know anybody that might be interested, you tag them in it or send them my way, like I said, to the Cynical Stew account here, or to my josh.gilliam account, or Facebook, sorry. If you want to email josh.gilliam@gmail.com, that works too. I check that pretty frequently. That's probably one of the best ways to get a hold of me other than Facebook Messenger. So, all right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.
All right, guys. So you heard it on our show, if you didn't hear it from him directly, that he will be doing a fantastic, I mean, wow, that's a great project. And that's exactly what I want to see happening. More creativity with children involved, where we're encouraging the kids. Because let's be honest, with our current circumstance with kids being kind of ignored by schools right now. I mean, look at the state of our education system. We spend $2.5 billion on a missile to kill people, but we won't spend $2.5 billion upgrading our school system. There's something wrong in that message. And right now, unfortunately, kids are on the other end of the stick, and they're getting their art programs cut. And I've heard about it. I've seen it on the news. I've had family members talk about it to me, and it's scary. So I think that it does take any indie comic book creator, such as Josh Gilliam, and myself included, with what I'm doing with Jax D. Anderson, to do that. And I mean, look, I'll be the first one to go on record to say it. I don't think that we're competing in any way with doing projects like this with each other. I think that if we're involving children, we're all doing the right thing. And I think that's a collaborative effort in itself. For those who don't know, I officially announced the title of my upcoming children's anthology called Kids of the Con, which will bring together 20 creators about. Each one will have a 10-page story, give or take. So it's an exciting time, it seems, for children in the creative space. Let's give credit to Martin Dunn and Evie Dunn. Martin Dunn, his daughter, Evie Dunn, is a fantastic creative force. So Martin Dunn's been doing this a while, as Josh Gilliam's been doing it, as a parent I am. And that's what it is, man. And Charlie, my editor, who just joined the video, he's going to be part of the project. He was definitely instrumental in Jax D. Anderson. So that's what it is. It's about, here's the way to look at these projects. This is us showing kids it's okay to have an imagination outside of a Game Boy, or I know Game Boy's dated. I know people don't have, they have Game Boy DSs now. The point is that video games isn't where creativity is born. It's where creativity dies a lot of times. I know a lot of comic book creators who should stop playing so many games and get their books done and delivered. So, yeah, man, exciting. I can't wait to help them get that message out there, man. Kids are our future. Even if you're not a parent, you have to understand that everything you're doing in your life doesn't matter if you're not looking forward. And forward are the children, the next generation. And I mean, if you want to be a 45-year-old, 60-year-old comic book creator who has fans, you need to be recruiting them today as kids. You need to get kids involved in comic books. And I've said it many times. Then we're going to go back to Kickstarter Talk, I promise. I know this is going to make the show go way over, but I could not cover this. I credit comic books for my ability to read. And you guys see at times when I do these videos openly, I have trouble. I look at a word, I can't tell you what it is. I'm severely dyslexic. It's been a lifelong struggle. I know it's really weird. The guy who created Written Sins is dyslexic, and who's a comic book creator who is actually dyslexic and severely dyslexic at that. If you were to talk to any one of my editors, including Charlie, he would back up the fact that I am very dyslexic. But it doesn't stop me, and that's kind of the point. We can't stop. We have to push forward. We have to make creativity go to the next generation and show them that there are walls that can be broken down. I'm dyslexic. I never let it stop me. And that's what we got to teach the next generation, to strive to create new worlds. So that is what our you one of us is. So congratulations to Josh on a monumentous announcement that really is what we need right now in indie comics. And I love it, man. Josh, if you're watching this later, hat off to you, man. You took it to the next level. I love it. Anything I can do, I'm offering my help. Speaking of offering help, how about we offer some help to the villain? So here's a great idea. What if a villain tries to turn straight? What if he just wants to be left alone and become a good guy? Or maybe just a normal guy? let's not go too far and call them good. So this is going to be a noir, which means it's going to be black and white. That's generally what noir means. Black and white and a little bit different art style. Let me see if I can make this bigger for everyone. Let's see. Open image, a new tab. See if we can blow this up for you guys a bit. See, the line work is slightly different. It's dark and grainy. Noir is generally that way. The official definition of noir, because I want to make sure I'm getting it right. And believe it or not, I always look up words when I get confused. Especially with my dyslexia, sometimes I mix up words in my own head. So noir is a genre of crime, film or fictional, characterized by cynicism, fatalism, and moral ambiguity. See? Once again, trouble saying the word. So generally speaking, it's about crime and all that, but also I've noticed that noirs do go hand in hand with this type of styling. Don't know how that came to be necessarily a trend, but it fits. You know, sometimes things just fit. You wear a glove on your hand because it fits your hand, right? Noirs in this type of art. Glove in hand. There you go. Channeling my Enzo right there. So Villain is definitely an interesting thing. Here's the thing. I read Villain way back in the day, so it is a great story. I'm very thrilled to say that I loved it. I'm glad they're continuing it. This is the superhero that's kind of driving this guy mad, and we're actually going to watch the video right now. Now, once again, I'm just going to cut it off right here because of the music thing. I've noticed that if I keep playing under a minute, I usually don't get in any trouble. So you got to see definitely an amazing preview of it. I mean, if that doesn't get you, I don't know what I could say to make it any better. The art for this project speaks volumes. It's a fantastic find. This is a blockbuster on Kickstarter right now. If you're not backing this, I don't know. It's only got a $600 goal. It shouldn't be hard for us all to get there. 16 days to go. And this is one of those things that indie comic book creators, we need to rally around each other. We need to share our stuff. We need to stop looking at each other as competition. We're not competition. You go to a Comic-Con right now, your biggest competition as a creator is the crafts lady next to you. It's the guy selling posters. It's the guy over there making wood products. You're not going to be competing with fellow indie comic book creators. You want to know why? Because they're not making your comic book and you're not making their comic book. To make your comic book, you do your stuff. They make their stuff. Unless you guys are doing identical books, and then there's a problem, and maybe you should team up if you're doing identical books. Maybe it'll make it better. Maybe you guys will see each other's holes. But unless you're doing identical books, we don't compete with each other in the comics. So share each other's shit, man. Get it done. Josh Gilliam just joined us from his amazing announcement. Josh, if you go back, watch the video, we just talked about it a lot. Just kudos, man. I mean, I love the idea. You knocked one out of the park. Definitely awesome. Definitely awesome, Josh. My hat's off to you. So now that we know what noir is, we're going to move on to Mutant Chasers. Now, Mutant Chasers, I promised we'd watch the video, so we are going to watch the video. I live up to my promises. It's funny, I actually know that this music is set for this is not dig the video. I just wish there was a little bit more to explain what was going on. So let's find out about the project, shall we? Issue 2 finds one young hero right where we left them, in serious trouble. As Alex and the gang return to the university to uncover the terrifying truth behind the mutations, their mutations, in fact, Xander learns what Dr. Rykoff truly has in store for his Chaser 1. But nobody here is going down without a fight. Of course, that includes Rykoff's oldest and most deadly ally, Mimic. So, check out Mutant Chasers, the 2nd issue, who's already has 197 backers. Wow. And I'm also a backer, so I'm on 197. That's right. I backed it. It looks great. I mean, I can't wait to get it. I might even update to a copy. Here's the problem. A lot of times I want copies, but I have so many comic books that honestly I don't even get to read them all. If I'm not doing this, I'm creating my own comic books, or I'm running after a 2-year-old. I can't wait till I start reading a lot of these comics to 2-year-olds, which I'll be able to read. Apparently, Josh Gilliam's new line of comics coming out, and of course I can read Jack Anderson to my son, as he seems to love that book. Gee, I wonder why. But this looks like a fantastic tale of creative storytelling, so it's definitely something that you want to jump on top of. Speaking of getting on top of something, how about some support for the R4AU? What is R4AU? Well, it takes a lot of energy and money to spread the message right. The Autistic Jedi team, along with the R4AU group, created a life-sized R2-D2 renamed, with LucasArts permissions, R4AU. Here is your opportunity to make sure the team can continue to spread the joy and education to the world about autism. Get an R4AU patch today for only $8. Send $8 to that email on PayPal and make sure to include your address. So what does this do in the end of the day? So you get a patch, you supported this. What do they do with the funds? That's an interesting question. I know people ask that. So they take this R2-D2 unit, which has been reclassified R4AU and has been renamed that for autism awareness support. They take this to different cons and then they talk about it. Right here on the back, there's actually a list of the donators. Now, some of you might remember it has actually helped to build this R2-D2 unit, which we were talking about way back in February. Now here we are in August, and we're talking about it going from con to con. But remember, it's not cheap to get something like this from one Comic-Con to another Comic-Con. There's driving, there's parking. You can't just put this in the backseat of a car most days. You have to get it a hauling unit. It's a lot. It's a lot of time and a lot of energy, and it's a lot to do to get this around, and it's not cheap. And it's a great idea that needs funding. Like most things that are great ideas, it's not free. It needs to be funded. And this is your way to fund it, by just getting a patch that also will show people that you have a social interest in more than just typing it on social media, but in fact supporting it, actually being part of it. Like we talked about much earlier in the program, if you talk about it only but you don't support it, you really don't support it. You're just a talker. So don't be a talker. Get a patch and support the R4A unit and the Autistic Jedi this week. Also, just as a heads up, anyone who's going to a Written Sins event that is not press or even press. As a matter of fact, from now on, if you see on our list, the Written Sins list, and I'll show it to you right here, just so you guys know, go to the Comic-Con highway, go right here to your Written Sins exits. If you are in any of the following areas, as it pops up on our Comic-Con highway roadmap, if you are in any of these areas, I will carry the patches with me. You can get a patch directly from me. They'll be $5 each. You can support them, no shipping involved. Just I'll hand it to you and I'll pass on the proceeds to the organization. I do have patches with me. I wound up getting them. I take no profit in it. I just pass them along to support a cause. I truly believe in it because I think it affects many families, including ones I've known and people I do know. So it is important to me to support this cause. So I will always have it. So if you're going to be in Chicago, You can get it there. You're going to be at Claremont Comic-Con. You can get it there. If you're going to be in my hometown show of Southwest Florida, Fort Myers Comic-Con, it'll be there. New York Comic-Con, that's right. You can get the patch there. If you're going to be in MegaCon, Tampa Bay, it'll be there with me. And if you're going to Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia, it'll be there. And if you're going to go in 2 weeks to Orlando to the the Infinity Toy and Comic Con, you can get one there. So these are many places that you can get it. And now that I'm done plugging everywhere I'll be, let's get back to the list. New Voda, issue 1. What happens when villains decide to change who they are and try to turn the leaf, but people keep making them the bad guys, keep trashing their names? What do they got to do? They got to go out and they got to clear their names. So what's a gorilla to do? He's going to go to a small town and he's going to clear his name. He's going to find out what's going on. But as soon as he gets there, of course, trouble ensues. Grandma's baking cookies for you guys to support this on Kickstarter. And no, sorry, the Kickstarter does not come with rewards of cookies. You're not even allowed to, believe it or not, give anything technically that's supposed to be edible. It's one of the bylaws of this. You're not supposed to give it away. I know some people break the rule, but you're not supposed to. So follow the rules, kids. The stunning artwork is done by a good friend of mine, Chris Mad, who I'm happy to say we are going to get together and do something again. It's small. It's not as big as I'd like it to be. I definitely want it to be a bigger project, and I hope to have him on for a bigger project very soon. But as of right now, it's going to be a small piece that we're working on together, but I'm just a huge fan of his art style. He's one of the guys who's going to be a breakout star, and he's going to change kind of the way that certain angles are done. I like what he does with certain aspects of his drawing and the way he does the movement of his body. I think he's fantastic. He's also teamed up with me indirectly through an anthology called it's the fourth monkey. And I'm drawing a blank if there was a subtitle. I just think it's the fourth monkey is the title of the anthology. It's all over my wall. Chris Mad's involved with that with a great list of creators. We're going to talk about that one day. Once things are a little more settled and we get close to Kickstarter, it'll be my honor to talk about that. I've been actually working with the great Leah Letterman on her editing style. For me, is always fantastic. I love to learn and hear from someone. And it's very easy with Leah because I know she's not at all anything but about the story. I got to work with her on the original Fetish Baby, so this project is coming together with me and Chris Mann is fantastic. So right now, 16 days to go. Let's get this project funded. Let's keep Chris Mad and his legend growing. So what we're going to do is we're going to share it. And if you guys can see, I don't know if you saw, but I am a pledger here. Sometimes what I do, because we have the Sinsful Comics book, is I'll actually back it on Sinsful Comics and this, because Sinsful Comics is, of course, as you guys know, my wife's thing, so I'll have my wife do it from there, and then I'll back it from my profile just to build the awareness, and once again, build the backers. Get the backers up there. Doesn't 50 backers sound impressive? And they've raised 1,131? Come on. That's kind of cool. Definitely for me, because Chris Mad's a fan. I mean, I'm a fan of Chris Mad. I hope he's a fan of me too, though, come to think of it. But no, I'm a fan of Chris Mad. I'm a fan of this book. Share it for me. And now the cool thing about this that we learned while watching the video 2 weeks ago, next week we will watch the video, is the fact that the characters are from an older comic book and they're just coming back now. So there's a hidden origin in it that you can actually get by backing this. So definitely check out the video. Don't wait for me till next week. Check out the video this week. Blessed to show them the Western one-shot. Now, I promised we would watch this video, so we're definitely watching it this week. So let's check it out.
My name is Joseph Dewis. I'm the creator and writer of Blessed the Children, 15-page one-shot horror Western comic book. The plot follows Ed Sylvinter. He's the sole survivor of a failed westward expedition. He makes his way to the small town of Retribution in Northern California. At first, he thinks it's completely abandoned, but he meets his sole resident, Rhonda Durant. She takes him in and he begins staying at the saloon, where he keeps seeing children out of the corners of his eyes that are completely silent. and it just gets worse for him from there. I won't spoil the plot. Another comic book we're going to make, if we make enough money, is Cat and Mouse. Figure for the stretch goals, I would give you guys value instead of just more trinkets. This is another one-shot horror story based on Japanese game shows. Thanks for your help.
That's an interesting thing. I'll be honest with you guys. As a creator myself, I'm horrible with stretch goals. I don't do alternative covers. I don't like them. I'm not a fan of alternative covers. I think it's kind of cruel to a fan to make them have to choose a cover and be like, this is no longer special because it's an alternative cover. And that just comes from me. I'm not saying that that's something that's a standard or I won't support something that doesn't. I'm just saying for me, I've never liked alternative covers as a fan. So as a creator, I make sure not to do that. And when it comes to stretch goals, I like to do things that are incentives that, I mean, for me, the goal is the goal, and the stretch goals, I know it could be a carrot, and I know the carrot can make the horse go further, but that's not how I look at it. For me, my stretch goals kind of reward the people who already back me because we can start doing it. I was talking about Chris Mad. Chris Mad has and is going to be an actual stretch goal. With Fetish Babies, we did the stretch goal of the additional art being added, which actually Anderson truly did not have a stretch goal really planned. We had stretch goal ambitions where we were going to fund issue 2 and all that, but I don't know. It feels dirty. So I give a lot of credit to him for saying, you know, I'm not giving you trinkets. I'm giving you an actual comic book. I really dig that. Like, I mean, my house is full of things that are left over from Kickstarters that we had leftovers that we sell at the shows, but I mean, I sell them dirt cheap. Like 11 by 17s are so hard for me to sell at any high price. I don't feel right about it. I usually just sell them at cost of printing because it's like cool to have fans supporting you, you know? Like, I mean, I always try to make money off the books, but I don't try to make so much money that, because I mean, I've been on the other side of the table, and that's what it is. A lot of people don't realize this is actually like my 13th, 14th year doing this. I started doing this back, honestly, right after September 11th. So if you want to know how long I've really been creating, it was right after September 11th. I started getting more into it. I didn't get like serious for a couple of years after that, but like right after September 11th, I decided I was going to start creating again. So I've been doing this a long time, but most of that time I've been on the other side of the table. I've been the fan, and when you charge too much for something, I know it's a turnoff. I'm all for paying extra for the comic book. I understand that. I have no problem. On the other profile, I think we got the PDF and all that, and I get things are expensive, and I get the argument. And for the upcoming I Call Us Monsters, where and so they call us monsters, and they call us monsters. Wow, definitely time to start wrapping this show up. But and they call us monsters. The Kickstarter that launches this Monday. We're going to do a different way of running a Kickstarter, just to try out a different method, because part of what I do at Written Sins is about trial and error and reporting back to you guys what worked. It's not going to be stretch goal heavy, but it's going to be more of a value. I'm going to try different in how we package things. And we're going to see if the value works more than asking for more. We'll see. We'll talk about it. But, I mean, it is hard to come up with stretch goals sometimes. You know, some of the stretch goals are kind of silly. And they really are just things that aren't really needed. I've supported some Kickstarters because I truly believe them in the higher ranks, but I can tell you that usually 90% of the time, for me, stretch goals are not a huge motivator. If you haven't gotten me to sign on without a stretch goal, I don't think I'm signing on. And I think a lot of times it's a problem. That's me. I do know in the reverse flip coin, people love alternative covers. They love unique ones. They love numbered ones. And go for it. More power to you. I get frustrated, and sometimes even as some of the backers some of the Kickstarters I back, I'll actually ask for the extra comic book to be added onto it, and I'll pay for an extra copy of it just to get both covers, because I don't not like having both covers. But I mean, some of it's ridiculous. When you have 5 covers for one comic book, slow down, Beavis. All right. speaking of wrapping this show up, let's talk about the voodoo curse. We're going to go with the video starting now. And now, mind you, I have not seen this video, so I've waited to see it with you, which is obviously now, I mean, to their credit, they're talking about two different versions with an alternative cover, which I am a fan of. Because then you have your standard comic book and you have a more in-depth comic book, which, thanks to watching this video, I now know. I think I actually got the other one. Let me see which one I got. I got the Voodoo Curse bonus edition as signed. So I'm getting the exclusive Kickstarter cover one. So I went with the $10 version. Kim Roberts, I gotta say, I don't know how she does it, but they're always reasonably priced. Maybe I gotta pick her brain and find out where she's getting her stuff printed, because she's getting some great, as Russell would call it, great value. To Russell's credit, he calls it a great value on Kickstarter. So we're gonna check it out. We're gonna. Sorry, someone messaging me. Sometimes it distracts. Nothing major though. I mean, it's a fantastic. It's Kim Roberts. What else do I gotta say? You guys have heard me talk about Kim Roberts. Fantastic creator. I'm in. I'm not even into horror stuff, and I'm in. Right away. Didn't even have to say anything about it. I was one of the first backers. I saw it come up. I was like, oh, I had it actually on my site before she even talked to me about it. She was like, wow, that was fast. Because once again, here's the thing. When you back one project, you see other projects getting launched, or you see your friends backing things. That's the importance of not just sharing, but backing everything for at least $1. And speaking of sharing, why don't we share it on Twitter? Give it a little tweet. Oh, that's the Monster Jacks waking up, so the program's definitely going to come to an end soon. But we're going to watch POM, Pieces of Me, Superhero Celebrity video while I go check on Jaxie.
Indie Alliance.
Hey, superhero gossip lovers, guess what time it is? That's right, it's POM time! This week in celebrity empowered news, rumor has it, the enigmatic empowered team called the Unit has been known for its stable and sleek protective style. Easily considered the most stable of hero teams, might be in for a shakeup. That's right, changes! The Unit might be getting a new member to add some new blood to the almost covert supergroup. Rumor has it, this switcheroo might cause problems. In other news, the ultimate hero and crime fighter Strongman has saved the day many times over the years. Besides his unconfirmed alleged pornographic appearance in a leaked 1970s film, he's been squeaky clean. However, the lack of recent appearances and the absentee presence of the crime-fighting scene has led many to believe, you guessed it, Strongman is gone. Left Earth after his continual complaints over mankind's inability to evolve past war. Could it be true? Could Strongman be adios amigos? More on that later. Crime has recently risen, with crime lords taking over city streets, shadow ninjas appearing from, well, shadows, and crazed beasts stalk the runways. Meanwhile, the floozy hero that is Brittany Armstrong sleeps in alcohol-induced slumbers without care.
Wait a minute. Who are you calling Bluesy?
You,
Oh, okay then.
the once great daughter of strong man himself, has been seen flying into pigeons and power lines in somewhat questionable state. All those powers and still undependable. At least she's good for one thing. Or is it two? News media is going crazy. And they might not be the only one. Warbound may also be in question. The self-proclaimed immortal God has yet produced any proof of these claims. Psychological experts have weighed in, and you guessed it, evidence suggests he's no immortal at all. Just a lucky or unlucky homeless man who has recently become empowered. Those are just some of the hot topics in this edition of POM. Get your copy or be squared.
All right, so that is actually a real comic book, just for the record. It is not like a tabloid magazine. It deals with tabloids as a sub-narrative, but it's not a driving force. Like, it's not told like a complete tabloid. I have reviewed it. I have read it, and it is Mr. Anderson approved. That's a shot back to Mr. Anderson. You guys don't know wrestling. Don't worry about it if you don't get it. Wasn't meant for you. Powerverse, bringing this to life. Markel Dupree, fantastic guy. Let's get it to $5,000. 22 days to go. Let's $5,000. You know how we do that? Do you know how you do it? Because I know you already backed it. You're one of 147 backers. I know you guys wouldn't be silly enough not to be a backer, because this is a fantastic comic book. So I know that all you guys are with me. So what do we got to do? This is what we got to do. We got to post it on Facebook. We got to share it, and oh yeah, share it. So that's what you got to do. We have a couple more to talk about. Hang in there. We're almost there. We have the 10,000.
Hello, Kickstarter. I'm back. If you don't know me, my name is Todd Black, and I'm an indie comic writer. In fact, I actually have 2 series under my name, Guardians and Home. And in the case of Home, we actually had the entire mini-series funded right here on Kickstarter, and I am eternally grateful. But I need your help again, because I'm making an all-new book called 10,000 Miles. Now, unlike my previous series, 10,000 Miles is a graphic novel, which means the entire story is right here in this one book. And we wanted to get a head start on this, so we actually had the first 20 pages done. The first 11 of which are right here on the Kickstarter for you to read, and the final 9 will be cycled in as the Kickstarter continues. And you are helping us fund the final 52 issues and distribution. Now, what is 10,000 Miles? 10,000 Miles is the story of 2 brothers, Bryce and Chris. And these 2 are just incredibly gifted. Bryce is a builder, a fabricator, a mechanic. Chris can draw and write and design anything that pops into his head. And ever since they were 10 years old, they've been going on these little mini adventures. So much so that they've been called the impossible kids, because 10-year-olds shouldn't be able to do this, but they do. And then for the next 8 years, they just do the impossible. And they love every minute of it. They are as close as brothers can be. But life moves on. And they find out at 18 that they're going to be separated in a pretty big way. So, desperate to have one last great adventure, they go off on the grandest of them all. They're going to dig their way to China. No, they're really going to dig their way to China. I mean it. And if you look at the cover, you're even going to tease out how they're going to do it. But not everything has been revealed. Now, what makes 10,000 Miles special to me is that this is a very personal story. This is one that everyone can read, which is actually a point going into this. I actually called this my Disney Pixar story, not just because of the art, but because everyone can read it. I call it a children's book just as much as I do a graphic novel. Parents can read this, kids can read it, just regular comic readers can read it. This is a fun story about 2 kids doing whatever they can to make their last moments together memorable. This is a story about life. This is a story about growing up. This is a story about how we react when life just throws us a curveball, which is something I think everyone can relate to. And I'm really hoping you'll help make this adventure come to life. Now, as with all good Kickstarters, we have a lot of great rewards. You can get drawn into the comic. You can actually have your art featured in the comic, which is the first time I've ever done something like that. You can get Guardians and Home along with 10,000 miles. And we have much more than that, and it's very, very exciting. With something like this, with me funding a graphic novel on Kickstarter, every single pledge matters. So I really hope that if you like this story, if you want to support it, you'll pledge, and then you'll spread the word to your friends. If you can only spread the word and you can't pledge, that's okay. Spreading word is just as important. Whatever it takes for us to get to that funding goal so that we can make this real. I have had this story for so long, and I'm so happy to be here on Kickstarter to try and get it funded, because this is something I really want to tell, and I hope you will help me fund it. So, pledge, spread the word, let me know what you think about the preview pages. I'm here for you, and I hope you'll be here for me. So, shall we dig our way to China?
So I'll be honest, I don't think I can do better than that. He did a fantastic job of selling that. So all that's left is to make sure that you get on board. Let's go to China, guys, and make sure we're sharing it, spreading the word, and getting this funded. Now, this is going to be an important one. I haven't watched the video yet. I know it's going to be pretty powerful. Let's take a look at Shadow Play.
I used to be afraid of the monsters I imagined hiding in the shadows, waiting for their chance to get me. Then I found out the shadows are far more than we ever imagined. They come from an impossible place, hidden from mankind's memory. Don't be afraid of what's hiding in the darkness. It's the shadows themselves who can kill you.
So now, those of you who are wondering, wait, Richard Rivera, why does that name seem so familiar? Well, I'll tell you why that name seems so familiar. As you guys can hear in the background, the CEO of Written Sins is doing what most CEOs do during their workday. They do anything they want. It's playing with Matchbox cars and giving raspberries throughout the room. If you don't know what a raspberry is, Google it. So Richard Rivera is the creator of Stabbity Bunny, which, as we all know, is now on Scout Comics. The underlying thing that they don't really touch upon, and I know this from talking with Richard, is the fact that they do go into talking about bullying and how it feels to be bullied and how it feels to be different. And I do think it's a great story. I had the opportunity to have it in my hand already, a different version, I'm pretty sure of it. Not the one I have, because I got I get things. You guys know that. I get things before they get out. So I had a copy of them, one of the ones that wasn't necessarily all the way out there. So this is slightly different. You can get the cool San Diego Comic-Con version, which is all black and white, which is kind of cool considering it's Shadow Play. There is also an Origins book, I believe, that's going to be part of it. Plus Shadow Play's Origin, limited to 50 copies. I believe the Origins is something that I might have been reading. I have to actually ask Richard which one I have. But I mean, look at it, man. This is it. This is creativity in its finest form. And Richard Rivera is constantly doing an amazing thing, bringing great creations to life. 29 days to go. Great start. Almost a third of the way there. No crossover with Stabby Bunny. This is all on its own. You wouldn't even have known that he was the creator of Stabby Bunny if I hadn't told you. I just wanted you to know, for Stabby Bunny fans, this is the creator. So, I mean, I couldn't talk. Sorry, wrong screen. I couldn't talk more highly about the man. I've had him at the table. For those of you who follow these things, know that I have had Richard share a table with me in the past. He's been a guest star of our Written Sins table. I mean, he's a great guy. He's a great creator. I love what he does with Stabby Bunny. He has a couple other titles. This is one of them. We had talked about bullying at a recent con, and this had come up, and he showed it to me. I had shown my work on bullying, and bullying is an epidemic, I believe, in our country that we've never dealt with. It was something that lived on when I was a kid. It still lives on to this day, and I think it's disgusting that as adults we haven't handled it. So I think projects like this are important. So, I mean, support it. This is one of those ones. This is one of the ones I think is a blockbuster. I think this is going to be a very important one that's going to live on. This is going to be like indie greatness right here. I know it sounds like I'm saying a lot, but I've never said that about another project before, that it'll live on in its indie greatness. So I'm not just saying it to say it. I truly believe this about this project. And finally, after all these amazing titles, we still have one more to see. Brand new to the program, just added today. Here's another one.
Our legend is not for the faint of heart. Those who read on will not find happiness. What joy is found here is more accident than true compassion. We don't give love, we don't find peace. And the only solace to be had is at the end of a blade. We're riders. We got a job to do. Read on if you can.
Hi, my name's Jack Holder, and I'm the writer of Demon Riders. Harsk and his ride is the only thing that stands between folk and the darkness of the pit. The riders are cruel, they're ruthless, some may even say heartless, and they're broken. But they're the only thing standing between light and a fate worse than death. That is, until the advent of a new rider. Kate Demonborn. The ride will never be the same. Demon Riders is the first book of Kate and Harsk, a fantasy western set in the world of arcane industries. Kate and Harsk battle demons, chimera, cultists, and their own sins. At their core, they are a force of good, whether good likes it or not. This is our second book on Kickstarter, and one we are extremely proud of being able to show you. Illustrated by Eric Muller of Hand in Hand Artworks, with the cover art provided by Alana Fletcher. We are here with our Kickstarter to bring Demon Riders to you in an early print run before taking this book public. In these rewards, you can buy our paperback, our previous titles, and artwork from some of the best artists we've had the pleasure of working with. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has helped inform you about Demon Riders and arcane industries. I hope you buy the book, and no matter what, again, thank you.
That was Jack Holder, great creator. I love the video, the intro. The art's pretty stunning. I definitely am a fan of it. For those who know the name, Spells and Taxes was on the show a year ago now. Has it been a year already? Jack is definitely an amazing creator. I follow him on social media. We have the opportunity to talk at different times. I don't know Eric Muller, but I'm getting to know him. And Anna Fletcher definitely seemed to have brought together a fantastic book. I'm in. I think everyone else should be in. Look, I know we've been on air now for 90 minutes, and we've seen so many amazing projects. And I couldn't be more proud of the indie comic book creators right now. And creativity is paramount in being able to change the world. And I say this all the time. If you look around at the world and you're discouraged by what you see right now, understand that through creation we can change everything. It's always art that changes the world. It's not politicians, it's artists. It's people painting pictures and telling stories. Those stories inspire generations. So today you got to see many different stories. Some of these will inspire generations. Some of them talk about, you know, how to deal with something that comes up and suddenly throws a curveball at you. We talked about how gossip isn't always the truth of what's really going on in society, and how gossip affects reality and reality affects gossip. We also had the opportunity today to talk about how giving art back to children is important, thanks to Josh Gilliam. We've touched on so many amazing projects that are out there. I mean, they're waiting for you to fund them. And they're waiting for you to fund them because it's important that we let creativity continue on. With that, YouTube, you've been great. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Join the tens of fans following us right now on YouTube. And thank you for showing up for Kickstarter Talk. We will be back hopefully Thursday or Friday. I didn't get to do last week's show because of a sore throat. I wouldn't have been able to talk and you wouldn't have heard me well, so I just skipped it. This week we hope to do the abridged version of the show by just reading off the list and what's still available. We'll do maybe a video or two. It'll be like a 15-minute video at most. All right, guys. We'll see you later, YouTube.